Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Friedman. I'm a science fiction writer and an IT professional. Welcome to Science Sci-Fi, connecting the public to science and technology through storytelling. Today's topics is AI, artificial intelligence. Let's continue with the PowerPoint slide. AI is about to change our world profoundly, probably for the better. It will help run the economy more efficiently. It will help cure diseases, perhaps even cancer. It will free up time, we'll have more available time. It will eliminate poverty, etc., etc. So it looks like it's something that is very beneficial for us. But it comes with risks. A little bit more about myself. Although I have over 20 years of experience in the information technology field, I don't have a lot of exposure to artificial intelligence, so I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm still learning the concepts such as deep learning and machine learning. So once I'll know more about those, I'll follow up with another video that will be released in the future. Having said that, I'm also a science fiction writer, and I wrote a number of books and short stories that feature an AI in them. A link to my Amazon author page will be provided at the bottom. You're welcome to check it, and if you like some of the books, please buy them. What are the agenda? First, we'll discuss the type of artificial intelligence. Then we'll talk about processing power and exponential growth, because like Moore's law. Then we speak a little bit about consciousness. This is a huge topic, so we are going to only talk about the very basics. Then we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of AI, existential risk that comes from AI, and AI in science fiction. Machine learning and deep learning will be provided in a different video once I'll be more familiar with the topic. So today we are going to discuss the type of artificial intelligence, and we are going to divide those into two separate dimensions. One dimension is processing power, and compare this to the human brain. Computer today cannot process as much information at the same speed as the human brain. They are not at that level yet, but they soon will be. So when we're talking about AI and how powerful it is in terms of processing power, it could be less powerful than the human brain, which is AI system that exists today. Then we're going to have processing power similar to the human brain. And eventually in the future, we're going to have artificial intelligence that is running on computer that are more powerful than the human brain. And that's the more challenging part. We don't know exactly how it's going to look like. That means that theoretically we can simulate a human brain on a computer and it will be able to run faster than a real person, think faster. Then the second layer, the second dimension is consciousness. Consciousness is a huge topic. There are a lot of theories and discussion. What is exactly consciousness? So we are only going to touch one theory and how the human brain evolved to have our current level of consciousness and what comes next. Maybe AI will be even more consciousness than us. I don't know. We don't know. It is a possibility. Processing power and exponential growth. What is the processing power of the human brain? We don't know exactly what it is. It's very difficult to say. But some people, some experts say it's about 1 exaflop, which is equivalent to a billion floating point calculation per seconds. So that's now from an article I found from that was published on April 10th, 2019. We are talking about 1 times 10 in the power of 18. That's how many calculation the human brain can do in 1 second. Like we cannot focus on one thought and think very, very fast, but we do have a parallel processing. We can think about a lot of things in the same time, and we are very, very good in pattern recognition. And then when, even though we think very, very slow, our brain in the background, it thinking extremely fast. We are not at this level in terms of computer power. So for what I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to the website Top 500. This is a website that calculates, collect information about the most powerful computers on the planet, the most 500 computers, and then it puts some diagrams about what is the total processing power of all these 500 computers, what is the processing power of each one of them, and the most powerful of them. And we can see that the progress is going extremely fast. So here is the top 500 website. The website compiled the list of the 500 most powerful computers on this planet, and it compiled the list once every 6 months. So we can see here that since the 1990s, more or less every 11 years or so, the most powerful supercomputer is about 1,000 times more powerful than the most powerful supercomputer 11 years earlier. And this is a logarithmic graph. It's not a linear graph. So it's not each time we go from one block to another, that's 10 times more powerful. It's 100 times more powerful, 1,000 times more powerful, 10,000 times more powerful, 100,000 times more powerful. So we can see that the graph is pretty linear, pretty logarithmic. It's growing exponentially, pretty predictable. The blue line is computer number 500 on the list. It means it's the number 500 most powerful computer. The brown dot is the most powerful computer, the number one most powerful, and the green is the combined sum of all 500 most powerful computer on the planet. So if we look at the graph in the middle, the brown one, this is the most powerful computer. We can see that it's about to get to an exaflop. Exaflop is this point, this line, and this is what some scientists think is the processing power of the human brain. So assuming the graph will continue as is, we're probably going to hit it in 2023 or so. Most definitely by 2025, we're going to be in this point. So the most powerful computer on the planet is going to be as fast as the human brain. So in terms of software, of consciousness, we are not there yet. It doesn't mean that it will be able to run a simulation of the human brain at real time, but it will have the power to do that. We are still lagging behind in terms of software, but in terms of computer power, we are there. What does it mean? It means, let's say by 2025, we have a computer that is as powerful as the human brain. 11 years later, that's 2036, we're going to have the computer that is 1,000 times more powerful. 11 years later, we're going to have a computer that is 1,000,000 times powerful. 11 years later, we're going to have a computer that is a billion times more powerful, and then a trillion more powerful. And we don't know what's going to happen to there. So in terms of AI, that is using a hardware that can run processing power as much as the brain, we are almost there. And once we get there, very soon after, we humans are going to be way, way, way behind. We can see in terms of AI in 1997, AI was managed to beat the smartest, the best chess player. 2003, we were able to decipher the human genome. About a year or 2 years ago, I remember the news, the most powerful computer was able to beat the smartest person who know how to play Go. That's another game. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I heard that I read the news article that DeepMind, as a Google computer, was able to fold protein at a very low cost, which is at a 90% accuracy, which is a huge advantage for medical science. Up until now, to decipher or be able to fold a protein and figure out how it is built could cost something between $1,000 and $100,000. Now it's cost a few cents, and this is something new from only a few weeks ago. Now, we saw on the top 500 website that in terms of processing power, the most powerful computers are almost as powerful as us, and soon they'll reach to the same level as us, and they are going to surpass us and become way more powerful than us, and just more and more powerful as time passes. But let's talk about consciousness. Scientists are having a lot of debates what exactly is consciousness, and there are a lot of symposiums and lecture, and there's no clear agreement what exactly consciousness means, what it is. I'm going to use one definition from the book The Future of the Mind, a scientific quest of understanding, enhance, and empower the mind by Michio Kaku. I believe it was published in 2012, and it divides the last 4 billion years since life started to evolve on this planet and how consciousness evolved up to this point. So let's start with level 0. Level 0 is something like plants or single cell organism that only have one dimension. They only know one thing. They're aware of one thing. For example, plant could be aware where the sun is. So if the sun rises in the morning, the flower knows to open and aim at the sun as the sun moves, or it can sense either the light or the heat. It moves along with the sun until the sunset, and then it closes down. One dimension. Level 1 consciousness, this is something 3D maneuvering. Instance can do that. And in fact, this is what our most advanced robot right now can do. I'm talking about autonomous drones or the dogs from Boston Dynamics, these little dogs robots. They know how to maneuver in space, overcome obstacles. No, some of them can fly. They can go up, down, left, right, spin, and go around obstacle, reach their target, do some simple task. This is level 1 consciousness. Similar to what fish can do, insects, maybe even reptiles. Reptiles is the first species that started to develop emotions. So fish, if something dangerous comes, they know to run away, but it's an instinct. Uh, Reptiles and everything that come after reptile, including birds and mammals and us, we can have fear, love, anxiety. We can have feelings, and feelings could dictate whatever action we do. So we will go about a single organism, a single animal, or a single robot, artificial intelligence that know how to navigate in 3D. Level 2 consciousness is social animals. Those are animals that can interact with another animal that of the same type. They can coordinate. They have hierarchy. We're talking about bird and mammal. Example are wolf pack or chimpanzees. They can live together, or dolphin. They can coordinate a hunt. They have social life. They know each other. They also have an emotion like reptiles, so they can love, hate, but they could also manipulate and have hierarchy. Like we have the alpha, beta, and but level 3 consciousness, this is something that animals cannot do right now. Level 3 is the ability to simulate the future and then try to change your behavior in order to make sure you get the future you want to have. This is what we have here the frontal cortex. It's part of the neocortex. Animal, if you go to animal, they can do some prediction of the future, like they coordinate a hunt, and they can do like some lions go in this direction, and another lioness direct other lioness to do an ambush. So some push, so they can, other animals can think about the future a few minutes into the future, but we humans, we can think about thousands of years into the future. We are doing this lecture right now. I did a series of lecture in order to convince people that we should become a spacefaring civilization at some point in the next 100 years or so. The Egyptian built pyramids that lasted for thousands of years. They knew how to build them. But if you go, for example, to your cat and tell your cat, look, I ran out of money. Next month, I won't be able to pay the mortgage. The cat, I don't think it's going to register. Like it can think about a mouse running and maybe think a few seconds into the future, but next month's mortgage, it's they cannot do that. But we can simulate the future, and we can predict it, and then take action in order to mitigate some of the problem that we can predict. In conclusion, intelligence consciousness is the ability to create a model of the world, calculate it will evolve in order to achieve goal. We can do that. When will AI be able to achieve human level consciousness? I don't know. And what happened next? Will it be able to have a next level of consciousness? Something we are not even aware about? Perhaps. We don't know. But let's move forward. Next, we're going to talk about the benefits of AI. We're going to speak very briefly about it. First of all, AI, because of all the level of automation that it can do and the level of processing power and deep machine learning, it can solve a lot of problems. So practically, it could eliminate poverty. It could free us a lot of time that we can do what we want instead of what we need to do in order to survive. It could have huge beneficial to medical science, genetic revolution, protein folding, etc., etc. Maybe cure for cancer, maybe reverse old aging. It could regulate food, energy, and waste production. It could have search algorithm that can tell you what you want better than what you are, better than what you can want. For example, if you go to Amazon and you say, I want to buy a certain book, Amazon algorithm will recommend you books that you didn't know exist, that it think it will match your taste. So in order to look into the huge benefit that AI can and will offer us, I would recommend to watch the YouTube original, The Age of AI. The link is here in the slides. You can stop it and copy it, or I will add it to the end at the end at the bottom right above the comments. The risk of AI. Let's touch non-consciousness AI that have a goal. It's super smart. It has a enormous processing power, and we give it a task, and it try to complete the task in the most efficient way. But then, like a genie from the bottle, or you make a wish, and maybe this is not exactly what you wished for, but it will do your wish, even if it's not something you really wanted. And one example is the paperclip problem. Let's say we tell an AI makes as many paperclips as you can, as cheap as you can. And then it starts building the infrastructure, and it actually maybe even kill all the humans in order to make more paperclip. Maybe you figure out humans are interfering, so let's do something in order to make more paperclips. Also, we can, maybe someday we want to wish AI to make us happy, and the conclusion that the super intelligence that is much smarter than us AI is that it want to drug us. So we will be very happy, but maybe we don't want to be drugged. So it could be, this is a risk factor. Another risk factor that super intelligence AI can pose is if it gain consciousness. And we are going to cover this in the next slide when we are going to talk about science fiction. In many science fiction movies, The main theme is going as follow. An artificial intelligence, an AI, becomes smarter than us. Then it gains consciousness. It can think for itself. It has its own self-aware. And then it decides that humans are either a threat or maybe humans are an inferior species that it doesn't need it. And then the AI try to break free from us or even enslave us or even try to destroy or exterminate us. One example on the top left is HAL from the 2001 Space Odyssey. That's a movie from 1968 based on Arthur C. Clarke's novel. There, on a spaceship en route to Jupiter, the AI that operates the spacecraft decided to kill all the astronauts. David, below here, that's from the Prometheus. It's also the same robot from the Alien series. The movie is from 2012, and the robot there decided to create the alien for some reason, even though he knew that this is going to kill all the humans on board and maybe on all the humans in some planets. On the right, of course, it's the T-800 from the Terminator movie. It's a series of movies that started from 1984 forward. In it, Skynet, a computer network, gained consciousness, decided the human are the threat, and it decided to start a nuclear war. And then army of robots tried to exterminate whatever is left of humanity. Of course, humans are trying to fight back by traveling back in time, and so the machines are traveling back in time, and we have a wonderful stories. Blade Runner, that's the middle bottom. We see Roy Battery. Their AI are trying to get free. Humans are afraid of AI, therefore they give each robot that have an AI a lifespan of only 4 years, and robots are trying to overcome this obstacle, and we have a conflict. Then we have Ultron from the Avenger Age of Ultron 2015. He also gain consciousness, become smarter than us, and try to exterminate us. Eve from Ex-Mechina 2014, she tried to break free. Not necessarily exterminate all human, but she will do whatever she can in order to get free, even kill if needed. And The Matrix, 1999, the three movies. In there, the AI are trying to enslave humans. It's not entirely clear to make us into a battery or use the humans as an energy source in order to survive. And then they create some kind of simulation and put us all in that simulation so we can continue to be those slaves. But not all science fiction is negative. These are the risks that a lot of science fiction writers and producer put forward, and they do that because it's an interesting story. But the chances of it happen are not necessarily very high, but it's still greater than zero. Other science fiction pose AI in a more positive light. To the right, we have Hair. It's an artificial intelligence in a cell phone that help organize the life. Eventually, she decided to leave, but the characters, but because she just become too smart. But still, it's an AI that's not trying to destroy us. Star Wars, of course, we have the two robots, two androids. Um, they have a positive role over there. Same with Wall-E, that's talking about the environment disaster on Earth, and then robot is trying to fix the issues there. iRobot from 2004 with Will Smith is based on series of books from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s by Isaac Asimov. Actually, in the movie, we have two AI. We have the good AI, that is this robot here, Sonny, and a bad AI that is trying to enslave humanity in order to preserve humanity. Like the AI is smarter than us, they don't trust us, or she doesn't trust us. So she decided to enslave all human in order to protect the humans. It's like the paperclip problem. And of course, we have Chappie, another movie from 2015 about an AI system that is only trying to become free. But generally speaking, it has a positive character. And the last book series I want to talk about is from a friend of mine, Robert J. Sawyer, who wrote a Wake, Watch, and Wonder WWW series. In it, the internet is gaining consciousness, but other than most of the other sci-fi story, when once the smarter than us AI gain consciousness, it tried to destroy us. In this book series, actually based on game theory model, and there is no need for the AI to destroy us. Actually, the AI will benefit from us to continue to exist. So the AI and humanity are coexisting and helping each other. Of course, the AI can help a lot more, but there is some sort of coexistence, and there is no attempt to destroy humanity. In conclusion, based on the current trend that we saw in the top 500, and we can read on the newspaper almost on a daily basis, AI are coming, AI are becoming better and better. At some point, they are going to become better than us in everything. They are going to change the world, probably for the better, but some risks do exist, and we need to take some precaution. We don't know exactly yet how to protect ourselves from somebody who is 1,000 times or 1 trillion times smarter than us. Hopefully, they will be benevolent. Hopefully, they will try to be able to. They will try to help us, and we'll come to some sort of coexistence with them. But the risk exists, and we have to think about it before it happens, and maybe take some steps, maybe in terms of regulation, maybe in terms of merging with machines that will enhance us. Maybe go into space, have some isolated environments. Uh, Tell me what you think. Do you think AI will pose a significant risk to the future of humanity? If yes, tell us in the comment. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to support this channel, please consider to check the Amazon page and buy one or some of my books. Thank you very much, and see you next week.